Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptomancer, where we feature content on play-to-earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And we are about an hour into the Chaos Legion test servers being made available to the Mavs, and it's been a crazy flurry of screenshots and Twitch streams, and it's all fantastic, honestly. Lots of good information. We're going to go through some of that information with you now. We'll just kind of do a free flow of thoughts and comments as I go through some of these images, just to give you my initial takes. As we reveal over the coming hours and days, there's going to be a lot of discussion, a lot of stats revealed, a lot of abilities revealed, a lot of meta planning. It's going to be exciting. No matter how you slice and dice it, stay tuned. The next couple days are going to be great. So, with that being said, let's hop into some reveals. The first reveal I want to focus on is the Water Summoner reveal. Kelia Frendel is +2 armor for the Water Dwarf Summoner. So for those like myself who are hoping for +1 melee for water, those hopes are dashed. +2 armor or shield is what it's going to be. It's actually an interesting development. I would say the grand scheme of things, it's not a great summoner ability, but it's not terrible. It's great. It's +1 more armor or shield than Tyrus or Drake of Arnok, for example. So from a value perspective, it's definitely good in that regard, because you're getting +1 extra shield for basically the Drake of Arnok 0 mana cost extra, or for Tyrus +1 mana. What is interesting when you look at the water team, as long as they're not going up against an Earth or another water team, right, with Ulrich in the wild format, they can be quite formidable, because in theory, a player could easily pair Kelia Frendel's summoner ability with a Venari Waysmith. So now you're at +4 shield, as well as potentially a neutral Tower Griffin at level 5, and now you're at +6 shield to start the battle, all for 12 mana cost investment. So that's not terrible to give +6 shield to all of your team. It is a little, the reason I say it's not great is because when you have Kelia available to yourself, the other team will also have water available, so they can go magic, which would just ignore all of that armor. Also, obviously, if you're not going to go against a Earth team in the modern format, maybe not have to worry so much about magic necessarily boosted. If you're going against a Fire team or a Life team under the Chaos Legion rare summoners, now, even though they have increased melee or increased archery, you have a lot of shields to protect you in that case. So it could be interesting. It definitely could be a strong play under the right circumstances, and making sure you choose correctly when you guess what your opponent might bring to bear against you. In addition to the Water Summoner revealed, it was also revealed on Twitch stream the Dragon Summoner ability, which happened to be -1 archery and -1 speed. Were the abilities there. So now we really have all the rare summoners revealed, and similar to Death with the -1 magic and -1 health, there's not really a lot of market moves you might make with the Dragon Summoner being revealed, simply because debuffs don't necessarily increase value inherently with cards in existence. It's harder to plan for that in the meta. So if we summarize briefly what we have for summoners, you have Earth with +1 magic damage, you have Fire with +1 melee damage and +1 speed, you have Water with +2 armor, you have Death with -1 magic and -1 health. You have Dragon with -1 archery and -1 speed, and you have Life with +1 archery. That's going to be the rare summoner abilities for Chaos Legion initially as we know it today. Now all these details can change with testing on the server, but that's where we're at today. Before we go into some of these card reveals and initial thoughts, what I can tell you is from what I've seen of these abilities on these cards as they level up, they are quite powerful. Lots of abilities being unlocked, great value for mana perspective. I think it is possibly going to influence value of untamed, dice, alpha and beta cards, because these Chaos Legion cards are going to be in demand. They're going to be accessible. They're going to play very strong in the meta. And, it might be something where until land becomes available and we see how land, the benefits of land for cards like alphas and betas, it could be that alpha and beta cards that are not currently meta today may not see explosive growth in the near-term future just because of some of these Chaos Legion cards having a lot of shininess to them and a lot of attraction due to their maybe a little bit of power creep here. I think we're seeing. Let's see. But something to be aware of and consider as you're evaluating the cards, as you're evaluating your decisions. Honestly, I think the contrarian play in the marketplace may be to pick up alpha and beta cards if they are discounted or suffer any decrease in price in the near term, because I think when land is released in 3 to 6 months, let's say, they could have extreme value at that time. Again, there's opportunity costs with such a strategy. Not financial advice, do your own research, but it could be an interesting play on the market. That being said, these Chaos Legion cards are exciting. They're going to dominate not only in the modern format, but also in the wild format. Let's talk about some of them. Let's just go left to right, top to bottom. You've got Miradali Guardian, right? So you have a 3 mana cost water card with tank heal, no base attack at level 1. This is probably a replacement to the Crustacean King if you look at that from a mana ability perspective. Definitely good to have the tank heal available for Chaos Legion, Modern League format for the water team. Next card is a 3 mana cost, Blinding Deflector, 1 melee damage, 1 speed, 3 armor, 4 hearts at level 1. So it's effectively a low mana, low cost tank for the life team. You've got here mana cost 5 for the Radiated Brute for the fire team, 3 melee damage, 2 speed, 4 hearts with reach. You might consider this a mini-me of Phineas Rage. So it's a little bit reduced speed, a little bit reduced health, but it's also, almost half the mana cost. And with the new Fire Summoner, you're getting 4 melee attack damage with reach at 5 mana, just at level 1. So that's pretty attractive. This next card is a death card, level 4 Life Sapper, 1 magic damage, 2 speed, 3 hearts with Life Leech. It is basically looking like a Venari Bonesmith, but maybe not so good. We'll see later on his actual stats as he levels up. Very similar in mana and abilities and magic damage, so not really sure the value there other than to add another low-cost magic damage dealer to your death team. Then we have Tarsa, which we've already seen as a fire summoner, the new water summoner with +2 shield. We've got the acid shooter, which you've already seen unveiled in the AMA with the scatter shot ability. You've got the Scavo Chemist, which was unveiled I think earlier today with Rust available. You've got the Insidious Warlock, which is a new epic for the death team, 1 magic damage, 2 speed, 5 hearts, and it has the recharge ability, which was also unveiled earlier this evening. Recharge allows you to do 3 times the damage, but only damage every other turn. So this will be a 5 mana cost magic damage of 3 on turn 1, 0 on turn 2, and 3 on turn 3 as an example. So magic damage being available here with this Warlock, with the Life Sapper, with the Bonesmith. So you're getting a lot of damage capabilities on the Death team now, and they make for an interesting play because of their new summoner being -1 magic, -1 health. Definitely could counter teams like Ulrich and also the new Obsidian Earth team. You have the Mycelic Infantry. It's an 8 mana, 3 melee, 1 speed, 3 shield, 7 health tank for the Earth team with shields. I mean, if we look at comparisons, it's not an exact comparison, but it might fill a gap that maybe the Flesh Golem did in the beta areas for Earth. I mean, Earth has already quite a few melee tanks available in the, let's say, 6 to 11 range. So this is just another to add to their stable there of pretty beefy tanks here, this time with a shield ability. Yeah, maybe it's an increased Stone Golem as well. You can look at it that way. The Scorch Fiend unveiled for the Fire team. We'll talk a little bit more about him on the next screen here. I want to save that. We have the Gargoyle Scrapper, a life, mana cost of 1 melee, 2 speed, 2 damage. Doesn't look to have an ability. Not overly impressive. We have to see what abilities are unveiled for the Gargoyle Scrapper as it levels up, but it is only 1 mana cost. You've got a 4 mana cost Kulu Swim Hunter, which is 2 archery damage, 2 speed, 4 health, no abilities at level 1. You know, maybe it's a watered down version of a water elemental, you know, with the archery and the mid mana levels. We'll have to see what abilities unlock for this card as it levels up. The next is the Crypt Beetle. It is a 3 mana, 1 melee, 1 speed, 1 shield, 2 health, with it looks like Blast. Let me just make sure about that. Sorry, it is shield. So this is a frontline low mana tank, probably similar to the blinding reflector that we see for the life team above. Here, again, filling a niche in the low mana battles. And last on this screen, we have the Flying Squid, 7 mana, 2 melee, 5 speed, 8 health with reach. This you might, think about coupling with a speed-based water team, something that you maybe have paired with a Serpent of Eld. Again, it's fast, it's an off tank with reach. So let us go to this next reveal, and here we have the 5 Splinter Fiends. These are the legendary 0 cost or 0 mana cost cards that are basically going to replace the Furious Chicken in the Modern League. And if you own the Furious Chicken, the value there long term may not be as good. These cards look pretty nice when leveled up. Now granted, these are level 4 legendaries that you're seeing on this screen. These would take 11 BCX of these cards to get to this ability level and stat level, so it could be quite expensive. For death, you have the Corpse Fiend, 1 melee damage, 3 speed, 2 health with silence. And this is interesting because the Death Summoner already has a -1 magic for the new Chaos Legion Summoner. So now you have a Fiend with silence on top of that, so now you're at -2 magic for the Death team. You could add a neutral Elven Mystic in there for a 3rd silence, so now you're at -3 magic damage from the Death team, and that cost is only 8 mana to get -3 magic, so that could be interesting as a counter to magic heavy teams. For Earth, you have the Fungus Fiend, 0 cost, 1 melee, 2 speed, 3 health with slow. For Water, you have the Torrent Fiend, 1 melee, 3 speed, 2 hearts with headwinds. This is the one that I think is very interesting. It's the Scorch Fiend, 4 fire, 2 melee attack damage, 3 speed, 1 heart with swiftness for 0 mana. For Equalizer, 2 melee attack damage for 0 mana cost is fantastic, but the synergy with Tarsa is quite strong because you're getting swiftness with this Fiend. Tarsa already has +1 speed, so now you're at +2 speed with this Fiend and Tarsa at 4 mana combined, and you're also getting 3 melee damage with this Fiend with Tarsa's +1 melee, so synergizes very well with that new Chaos Legion summoner. You also have the Soul Fiend for the Life team, which is 0 mana cost, 1 melee damage, 2 speed, 1 shield, 2 health, and it has Demoralize. So these Fiends are obviously much better additions to your teams overall than a Furious Chicken because they provide a lot more utility as you level them up. We might expect that though because these are certainly legendary cards. If we look at this next screen, this is very interesting. This is Queen Mycella, and this is going to have, I think, some significant meta impacts. This is Earth. It is 4 mana, 1 magic damage, 1 speed, 4 hearts. So you were probably saying, well, that's not all that impressive, but here's what's impressive. They have at level 2 gold foil, this legendary has Protect and Amplify for the Earth team. So from a meta perspective, what this means is that Mylor with Queen Mycella, Mylor's Thorns are now doing, I believe it's 3 damage with Queen Mycella on the board with Mylor, which is quite impressive. When you couple that with Protect, now you're getting essentially the benefit of, if you compare the new Earth Magic team to the old Water Ulrich Magic team with Venari Waysmith, now you're starting to cook with gas here because you essentially have a Venari Waysmith here on the Earth team with Protect as well as Amplify. So in theory, you could create a very let's say defensive team against all comers because you could have Mylor with Queen Mycella, so you have Thorns and Amplify, which helps mitigate melee teams like Tarsa. You also have Protect here, which helps against melee teams. It also helps protect all of your magic damage creatures that might be vulnerable when you run across a life team with a lot of archery, for example. And now you can also mitigate for magic damage by using a failed summoner maybe, or a unicorn mustang with a tank heal. You kind of have all the bases covered with Mylor and Queen Mycella combined. It will be interesting to see how the meta evolves, but just on paper, it seems very strong with Amplify and Protect, at least at gold foil level 2 being revealed here. Definitely will be interesting to see how that is tested in the game. We also have here some more cards to review. We've got the Venari Spellsmith, which is Amplify for the neutral team, 1 magic, 2 speed, 1 health. This basically lets you put Amplify in any Splinter for 4 mana cost. It's interesting because if you have the Venari Heatsmith, you have a lot of him, he may not be as valuable now with a neutral being available. Granted, it's more expensive from a mana perspective, but it also has 1 magic damage here as well. We already talked about the Crypt Beetle. We have the Goblin Psychic here, which is a 6 mana cost, 2 magic damage, 1 speed, 3 hearts with tank heal. And this is essentially probably replacing the Wood Nymph from the beta editions. You're getting for 2 extra mana, essentially 2 magic damage, and that's always good. In theory, in the wild format now, you can run a triple heal with Earth with the Princess, the Wood Nymph, and the Goblin Psychic, along with, for example, you know, Llama and Flesh Golem and Kron. So it could be a pretty crazy team there. I think Affliction may be seeing increased value. We're going to see a lot of Chaos Legion introducing some additional healers, which in the wild format brings a possibility for multiple tank heals, multiple triages. So the ability Affliction could see a bump in utility and effectiveness moving forward. It's already valuable, right? Celestial Harpy, 2 mana cost, flight with opportunity, 1 melee, 2 speed, and 2 health. I mean, I guess you could compare it to the Screeching Vulture, but for the life team, probably similar. Riftwing, 4 mana cost, 4 speed, 4 hearts, flying, does not have any damage here, has scavenge. I think when I saw on stream, I think this levels up to include actually dodge and backfire. It makes an interesting card for the death team to put at the tail end of your lineup to mitigate sneak with flight, with high speed, with dodge, with backfire. Even though it's not doing damage, it's basically frustrating any sneak attackers for most of the battle, more than likely. And with scavenge, it's going to continue to gain health throughout the battle as your team does damage. So a very interesting card that could be a foil for sneak attack teams. Let's see some more cards here. We have the Radiated Scorcher, 1 mana cost, 1 melee damage, 2 speed, 2 hearts. So a very cheap 1 mana cost card for fire. We don't know what abilities it has, at least at this point. We'll find out more. We have the Mycelic Slip Spawn, 9 mana cost, 1 magic damage, 2 speed, 12 health. It's got taunt, it's got immunity. I think we'll see some more abilities here. Let me see if I can find that quickly. Yeah, so the full abilities for this particular card at max level, level 8 here, is going to be Taunt, Immunity, Force Field, and Slow. So Earth finally has the Taunt here. It is a magic-based taunt, so it pairs well with Obsidian. You know, the immunity and force field is certainly nice. So a very interesting card for Earth. And then if we go back here, we will see the Silent Shavi. It's got Sneak. It is a 5 mana cost, 2 melee damage, 3 speed, 5 hearts. Again, we want to see what abilities unlock as it's leveled. But it's not overly impressive for 5 mana at level 1, given there's things like, you know, Pellicore Deceiver that you can level up and get pretty close to that pretty cheaply. We'll see what that means as we understand the abilities for that moving forward. We've already seen the Shadow Snitch stats unveiled. We have in this case the Venari Knifer, which is a 6 mana cost, 2 melee damage, 4 speed, 7 health with thorns. This is kind of like maybe an off tank, maybe a mid mana match tank. We need to see what abilities it has. The thorn would be repetitive under a Mylor led Earth team, so we'll have to see what other abilities come with that. We've got the Antoid Platoon, a 4 mana cost fire monster with 1 melee damage, 1 speed, 2 shields, and 3 health. With shield, this is probably, again, a low cost mana tank for those low mana battles. With shield, it's, you know, pretty common for that role on the battlefield. You've got also for fire an 8 mana, 2 magic damage, 3 speed, 8 health with recharge, legendary Ifrit Rising here. This is an interesting card because with recharge, 3 times damage is 6 magic damage from this card at level 1, which is pretty strong. Now, fire isn't known necessarily as a strong magic team as far as having lots of magic available frequently. So this is an interesting card to see as well. We'll see what other abilities unlock when we have more reveals for Chaos Legion in the hours and days ahead. Level 6 neutral card here, Magi of Chaos is an epic card. Base 2 magic damage, 2 speed, 5 hearts. You know, it's in stats similar to a Magi of the Forest, I would say, closest comparison. Magi of the Forest is 4 mana for similar stats, except it just has like 1 less health at level 1. But it also is an Earth Splinter. This is a neutral splinter, so it can be used with any team, giving it increased utility and hence the increased mana cost. Here we have an epic Earth monster, Hunter Jarks, level 2 gold foil here, 6 mana, 3 archery damage, 2 speed, 7 hearts with snipe. So this is a formidable archery unit for the Earth team. You also have the full leveling here, details for the Goblin Psychic, which we saw earlier in the video. He at max level becomes 2 magic damage, 1 speed, 7 health, but he adds Affliction, Silence, and Dispel to his tank heal. So this particular monster is very valuable to Earth because in addition to the tank heal it would give an Earth team, it would also provide Affliction to the opposing team so they couldn't heal, Silence as well, which is powerful for an anti-magic effect, and of course it's doing magic damage along with Obsidian. So this I think card will be very much in demand for Earth summoners. Here we have Verver Nymph stats, 4 mana, 2 magic damage, 4 speed, 4 health at max level. Abilities include Amplify, Cleanse, and Swiftness. And we have the name reveal for the Life Summoner, General Sloan, for +1 archery, Life Rare Summoner. Here we can see the Cursed Windeku's stats at max level, 6 mana for the Death Team, 3 melee, 3 speed, 12 hearts. It has Thorns, it has a self-heal, and Slow. So this is a very interesting card as well. The tank heal for Death, probably closely replacing the Haunted Spirit in this case. This has got Thorns, it's got self-heal, it's got Slow, it's got good health. So definitely also looking like a strong tank for the Death team. This other card was again the Ifrit. Here we can also see that this card, in addition to recharge, will get the Force Field ability, and its damage will actually go up to 4 magic damage. With recharge, that is very strong. That is 12 magic damage every other turn. It looks like at max level for this card. That is very strong. 12 magic damage every other turn. Wow. We already talked about the Mycelic Slip Spawn. We'll look here at this neutral card. This is a 9 mana neutral, 3 melee, 2 speed, 9 shield, 7 hearts at max level. It has Void, it has Giant Killer, which is a new ability. It has Demoralize, and it has Death Blow. So this looks pretty dangerous. We'll see what the Giant Killer ability brings us. But Death Blow, we know, for things like Kron and Flesh Golem, definitely lethal. I will also say that the art, if you look at all the art on the Chaos Legion cards, it's definitely a step forward. Just some really nice card art throughout this set, which is very, very positive. Here we have Adelaide Brightwing, more really nice card art. This is a 7 mana cost, 2 magic damage, 1 speed, 5 hearts. Lots of abilities here, 5 abilities in fact at max level. This is legendary. This is Flight, Repair, Resurrect, Immunity, and Swiftness. So here, similar mana cost to Jin Renova, right? Also kind of a support magic monster for the life team, but here you have a totally different set of support abilities. So it might be one where you have to make a decision if you want to bring Jin Renova in at 7 mana or Adelaide Brightwing, or you can bring in both, and you're going to have a whole bunch of synergistic support abilities for 14 mana cost between the two of them with magic damage. So that's an interesting card as well. This Chaos Dragon also revealed. It is 14 mana, which is quite expensive. You would probably only really consider using this in more likely 99 mana battles, but it's got 4 magic damage at max level, 3 speed, 4 shields, 12 hearts. It has flight, scatter shot, blast, and blind. So it is really going to live up to its name and cause chaos on the battlefield. 4 magic damage with blast is certainly not something, if you're on the other team and you're a vulnerable middle monster, you do not want to see the Chaos Dragon upset you on the field of battle. This next screen shows the breakdown for Xyvaxool, which was unveiled earlier this evening, showing it leveling up to level 4 and when it gets which ability. We already talked about Recharge. It's also got Close Range, Piercing, and Death Blow. So this is very interesting here because, again, with Recharge at the max level, you're going to be doing 6 archery damage at all times, whether you're in the first position or the last position. So you're going to want to have that Piercing unlocked to make sure you're getting the most out of that archery damage so you're not wasting it on shields. Alright, this next card is the Life Sapper. We talked about it earlier at the beginning of this video. It is the 4 mana cost, generic version of Minari Bonesmith. You'll see it doesn't get poison. It doesn't get really any abilities. It only maintains Life Leech. It gets 3 magic at the highest level for damage, but not super impressive, not really differentiating itself from the Bonesmith. Just basically another low to mid cost magic damage dealer. For the death team, really obviously want to be used in scenarios like Equalizer to maximize its Life Leech ability. And the last screen I will share for this video, because I know it's going kind of long, is actually the Lava Spider, which is a 3 mana cost at level 1, 2 archery damage, 2 speed, 2 health with Snipe. It's most comparable probably to the Fire Beetle on the beta side. It adds Snare and Poison. As it levels up at max level, it'll get Poison, and it'll go up to 3 archery damage. This is interesting for Jotun-led teams, possibly at the low 20 mana level, because you can run Jotun for 7, you can run a Fire Beetle for 3, you can run a Lava Spider for 3, maybe include a Phyrexia General, which would be 5 mana there. So you're at a total of, I think, around 18 mana, and you're getting, depending on the level, you're getting probably 3, 5, 7 plus, 8 plus archery damage with Blast and Snipe at an affordable price for you. And obviously you want to put a tank in there at a minimum, but it makes interesting some of those mid-level battles with Jotun perhaps. So this is just a initial thought and kind of spitballing some of these cards that have been revealed. The Twitch and YouTube is going to be on fire over these next couple days with content, with analysis, with discussion around all these Chaos Legion cards. I look forward to seeing you in the community, going through some of this conversation as we're all excited to see Chaos Legion just under a week away from being opened. Yeah, it's going to be craziness. So we'll see you in the game, and until next time, keep stacking those stats.